Diesel for We the People News. So, news video with a learning video.
Video shows Westchester officers stopping and actually questioning a black man in a Meijer store. Police records show the suspect, though, in this case was white.
The innocent black shopper is now suing Meijer, the police department, and two officers claiming they illegally profiled him, violating his rights and humiliating him.
Chief investigative reporter Craig Cheatham shows how the incident unfolded and also how police and the victim responded.
Westchester police body camera video shows officers Tim Menkenball and Tanner Sendez looking for a possible shoplifter 10 minutes after a police dispatcher gave this description.
Caucasian male, maybe late 30s. He's wearing a dark green / gray type colored Carhartt coat, got a red hoodie underneath. I believe he has a cutting device.
This him right here walking up to us?
Within a few minutes after they arrived in the store, Sendez points to a man he said looked in his direction and mirrored the officer.
Yeah, look at his Carhartt farther away. It's not Carhartt. Susie, man. Anything like him.
But despite Menken...
Oh, by the way, did you know it's illegal to look at an officer?
Ball's doubts, the senior officer leads Sendez, a trainee, toward Eric Lindsay, a 60-year-old black man wearing a puffy orange coat.
Hey, boss. Can you talk to me?
A police department internal investigation of the incident found at this point, you can hear a police dispatcher on the body camera video telling officers that the real suspect was still in a different part of the store.
Clinton Meijer, on the general merchandise side still in the
I'm doing well until I got stopped. What's up? Yeah, help me call and said that he looked at stealing some items inside the jacket.
Then, Officer Sendez tells Lindsay that Meijer Loss Prevention said the suspect is wearing a tan jacket, even though police records show that wasn't true.
Well, what did they say? Because I walked in here after you guys.
Listen.
Yep.
This isn't tan. What am I listening to? What am I listening to? This isn't tan.
Okay.
This is orange as
All right. Relax. It's okay. Okay. It's okay.
It's not okay.
Menkenball continued questioning Lindsay.
Do you have any items in your jacket?
Hell yeah, I got items in my jacket. The items that I walked in here with behind you guys.
Okay. Well, that's not what we're being told.
After that, the police dispatcher is heard saying the real suspect is near Valentine's cards. Sendez leaves with a Meijer employee, later identified as a manager. Menkenball follows. 2 minutes later, a different officer arrested a white man who matched the description of the suspect.
If they made a mistake like that and it was truly a mistake, what kind of people are you hiring and giving a gun to?
They made mistakes here.
Westchester Police Chief Joel Herzog says the police department's internal investigation found Menkenball and Sendez violated police department policy that prohibits unjustifiable stopping and questioning of citizens, but found no evidence.
Wait a minute. So they violated policy, but they didn't violate the Constitution. Wrong. They violated the Constitution. Along as with the policy, but they didn't care about the Constitution violation. They only cared about the police violation.
That the officers stopped Lindsay because he's black.
When Officer Sendez first saw him and when Officer Menkenball first saw him, neither could tell his race. I think Officer Sendez says he kept mirroring me, which he felt in his experience in loss prevention led to, hey, this guy's watching us also, so maybe this guy's involved. But descriptions constantly change in our line of work. When
There's
someone's
no evidence that
Descriptions constantly change why things involved. Meanwhile, the officer is reading the future and making up stories to go ahead and proceed forward, is basically what they're saying. And this is United States wise. This is the reason why our prison is so full. It's because officers adding and subtracting things to things that don't exist. And yeah, they the officers did keep it cool. I mean, by all rights, they could have cuffed him, and Terry versus Ohio, they could have, with box cutters and all that. for officer safety under Terry versus Ohio, could have cuffed him. So officers did use discretion by their own negligence of claiming he was one the guy.
Description changed, correct?
Not in this, no. But that doesn't mean between the time the description's put out, they have clothing in the store that many times suspects discard what they're wearing.
The I-team asked Herzog and Lindsay to
That is true. However, at the time they had no reason to believe that would be true. They're making stuff up. They're adding to the list, right? So this is the problem we have. When they're doing future telling and no actual facts, you go to jail.
watch the same body camera video of the incident and describe what they see.
These guys remained professional throughout this. They didn't escalate, as Mr. Lindsay.
You got the wrong. Admit it. Admit it.
Lindsay says he saw disrespectful and clueless officers.
For someone to make a mistake like that, are they that incompetent?
But Lindsay says he's also concerned about his anger and loud cursing at the officers.
It's nothing that I'm proud of.
He says since college and throughout his life, police officers in different communities have stopped and questioned him for no good reason.
You reach a boiling point, and I guess that was my...
I disagree. When the officer's impeding your freedom without just cause, you're allowed to get angry. And I particularly don't think we get angry enough to keep them officers in line, realizing that, you know, hey, there's a process that you need to go through. And just because the Supreme Court says to ignore it, doesn't mean the Supreme Court's right. And thank goodness we the people are starting to wake up and realize this. I think he's 100% justified, and he says he's not proud of it, but no. If he's nice, calm, and collect about this whole thing, they could have probably just stuck there with him. I don't know. I'm just reading the future.
The Westchester Police Department gave officers Metcalbaugh and Sendez administrative warnings and required them to get retrained on field interviews.
It was about as minimal of a contact as you can have with police. It was just a simple walk-up, consensual encounter, some questioning, and that was it.
Lindsay filed a lawsuit last month against the Westchester.
I do agree with that. It could have gotten a lot worse, and just by even average people, it has gotten a lot worse. So, in all respect, yes, it was minimum. So got to give them that.
Police Department, officers Metcalbaugh and Sendez, and the Meyer Company, claiming they conspired to violate his rights.
Do I need to have been tased or cuffed to feel like I was done wrong? I don't think so.
Well, they already started doing wrong by impeding his movement. Now, was he detained? No, they didn't detain him. However, if they kept on walking, they would have cuffed him, they would have stuffed him, and they would never said detained. So, in all actuality, they say consensual contact, but really and truly, it's not consensual contact. It's detained before being detained. And if you run, they're going to come after you, even though you was never detained, because you was detained. This is the way the people news. Bye, y'all.